Hello, everyone. Gonna wait here just a bit before the room fills up. How's it going? Let's get this chat over here. There we go. Hello, Sunny. Oops, I scrolled up. Yeah, it's like freezing in my house. I'm trying to warm my hands up. All right. Going to be doing something a little bit different today. I've never done this sort of thing live, so it should be interesting. How's it going? Fatim? I don't know how to pronounce that. Agile. Yes, Christmas. It's going to be here, what is it, 4 days? Yeah, 4 days. Kids are all excited. All right, we're going to get started. Probably about 30 seconds or so. I'm just going to wait for it to fill up just a bit. All right, what the heck? I'll get started now. All right. Okay, so basically, for the first time, I'm doing a live stream where I'm doing a logo redesign sort of thing. And I've been doing these Friday live streams now for several months. Now I'm doing them every Friday. It was just bi-weekly. Last week we did the standard design review where I review your designs. But this week I'm doing something different, and that's going to be based on logo redesigns based on what people have submitted within the past like 12 hours. And you can still submit yours too. I probably won't be able to get to them, but you can still submit them anyways. And maybe at the very end, I'll just talk about them instead of redesigning them in Illustrator, which is what I'm going to do for some of them. And you can do that by joining up on the Discord server. The link's in the YouTube description. And just go to Review Submissions channel after you join up. It's free here, of course. And just submit your design here. It could be a link or just put it as an image, as most people have done up here. All right, so the whole goal of this is to try to help those of you who are watching, and obviously the people who submitted their logo designs, to improve their logo design technique. If there's any areas that I'm identifying as something that's problematic, and I've looked through these a little bit already, and I have some ideas, and I know which ones I'm probably going to do. As always, before we begin, these live streams have just begun being sponsored by Skillshare, which is why I'm doing them weekly now. So now I have more funds to be able to allocate resources to be able to do live streams like this more frequently. All right. And so one of the great things about Skillshare, before we begin here, is the fact that they have a ton of logo design courses from really popular people like Aaron Draplin or Draplin. I'm not sure. I never really knew how to pronounce his last name, but you can see very popular courses. There are tons here that will help you, and I'll probably mention a few specific ones as I'm doing these reviews. And of course, you can join right now for free for 2 months using my link here. You can see the overlay right over there. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First, before I start, I want to check out, make sure everything's going good and people can still hear me. All right. Okay, so, yep. All right, let's get started. So the very first one that was submitted is, where is it at? It is right here. So I mentioned last night that I'm doing this live stream in anticipation to try to get people to submit, and this is the first one that showed up. This person mentioned that it's for a startup that he's currently working on, and the startup operates in the voice app development domain, and the logo is reminiscent of that. So the name of the startup is Voiceano, which is voice plus volcano, unique. Hence, I designed the logo to look like a volcano and speech bubble. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to drag it to my desktop, and then I'm going to open up Illustrator and to create a new document. and hit create. Let's go here. Come on, come on. I need a new computer, by the way. This one's probably about almost 4 years old. It was a custom build. I'm always wanting to do customs. All right. So let's extend this. I'm going to drag that into my Illustrator here. And I'm going to identify how we can potentially approve this logo. Improve, not approve. Right here. All right, by the way, we can do image trace, like 3 colors. Nope. I'll do 6 colors. There we go. Just to make it vector, whatever. I'm not going to use it really, just as a reference, just to see what we're going from and to. All right, so first of all, there are things that are going right with this logo, and then there are some things that could possibly be improved. Now, when it comes to coming up with symbol or symbolic visual representations of what a company does, you can go abstract or you can go literal. All right, so when we're talking about literal in the context of this logo, this is a volcano, right? And a speech bubble. Well, a volcano typically, obviously, it does not look like this. This is not an entirely literal representation of a volcano, but it is obviously just a volcano, and to also have a secondary symbol that is a speech bubble, it's somewhere between abstract and literal. And the goal for most logo design is to try to be abstract as possible so that you can be unique, but also at the same time be able to convey the idea that you want. And also, if you can, try to work in your symbol into one cohesive mark instead of having multiple elements. All right, now there's just 2 elements here, so it's not like horrendous or anything, but if we can, try to create maybe one cohesive symbol in perhaps a more abstract manner, it would be ideal. Now, looking at this logo before I start redesigning it, a couple things that are wrong in and of itself is we could see the angles right here at the top of the logo. This angle is at a certain angle, and then we have this one coming down, which is not. Whenever possible, when you're having certain lines inside of your logo, try to make them consistent and don't throw them off just by a little bit. As we can see, this is a more steep angle, and then this is more of like a 45-degree angle, and those minute details throw things off. So try to keep things consistent in shape as well as color and all the other stuff. So for what this is not bad. But I'm going to try to redo this and see if we can come up with something that might be a little bit more effective. So let's see here. First, I'm going to hit the eyedropper tool and get this color here. All right, and normally a lot of people, when they're coming up with logo ideas, they're going to get on pen and paper, but I don't have that right now. So what I'm going to do is, actually, I'll start right over here. What I'll do is kind of just start by getting the same angle from the left down there. And maybe instead of doing these jagged up and down arrows right here, maybe I'll do a more simplistic Bezier-based approach to illustrating the top of the volcano. So let me do something like, actually, let me do this. I'm going to show you guys a tip. We're just going to have a flat top for now. And I'm not really too concerned if I don't have the angles perfectly. This is just for demonstration. All right, so my idea was to do something like, if I take the add anchor point tool, and we'll put it like, let's see here, right here, and then hit, oops. There we go, sorry about that. I hit delete, and I come back here. My idea is to do something like this. So one second, I'm not done yet. That looks horrible. Maybe something like that. And as we can see, what this essentially is a top part of a sphere, and then the negative space is a lower part of a sphere. So if you wanted to, I'm going to back up here, to try to get that to be perfect, then one way we could do that is with an ellipse tool. And I'm going to try to do this real fast, so it's not going to be perfect. All right. And let me come up here. What do these look like? And so what I want to do is maybe this will be the negative space right there. And maybe I'll make this a little bit larger. All right, so if I make this white, let's see here, where's my eyedropper tool? And we want this curve to kind of just come in here right off this angle, just to go and just continue on. And as you can see, we don't sort of want right around there. And then I'll take this one. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but you'll get the idea. Let's make this bigger. Something almost like that. All right, and this could also be, if we did this real quick, let me take the object or window pathfinder. Oh, it's already up. It's on my other monitor. Sorry about that. And remove front, and then take this and join those. We could also probably scale those down just a bit, and maybe make it not so perfect like that, maybe more oval, but that's fine. What we could also do to simulate like the 3 message symbols is to come over here. I just came up with another idea, by the way, that we'll tackle real quickly for another concept for this logo. All right, maybe possibly put them here. I think those are a little bit too big, Or we could take this instead of this, and maybe take one here. And notice how I'm trying to form it around, you know, this the negative space circle. So it's emitting stuff from the volcano, and at the same time, it could also be symbolizing, I don't know, it said voice, right? Maybe that's a stretch for that. The other idea I just came up with, and we'll move on to the next one, is let me take this, we'll move this down here, and I'll stop that. Let me just come over here real quick. I'm going to do just a triangle to start with. All right, it's a little bit tall, so I'm just going to bring it down just a bit. All right, and what I'm going to do, I think this might be the most effective approach to try to unify everything in a single symbol. What I'll do is we'll take the pen tool, and maybe I'll simulate kind of like sound waves coming up and off or out of the volcano, and I'll do that real fast. So I know I'm spending a little bit of time on this, probably more so than I want to. Hit Control H here. All right. Why does it keep doing that? Stop that. Damn it. I'll come off here to the side. There we go. All right, maybe I'll just do something like this real fast. Come out here, make sure that's even. All right, and then I'll take it and we will give it a stroke. Make it white. Increase the stroke. And I will also scale it out just a bit, and then I'll take it, Control F, maybe move it over just so the waves are more in line with each other. And these would be refined a lot more, ideally. And also make sure your spacing is consistent. And then finally, we could possibly take our Add Anchor Point tool, add an anchor point here and here, delete this. And this could possibly be seen as sound waves coming up. I think they're a little bit too far apart, and I don't really like the flow of them. Let me move them a little bit. Something like that. I think I made the Bezier curve just a little bit too much. But either way, if we could go from, you know, something like this where sound waves are coming off, they're designed a little bit better than what I had, it would be more effective in my opinion. And also, I also did like this up here, because again, going back to what I was saying before, when it comes to these angles and having different type of angles that aren't really uniform or consistently applied in the design is less ideal than having something that's a little bit more uniform in perfect angles and perfect circles. All right, so let's go on to another one. Let me make sure everybody's still here and everybody can still hear me. Awesome, thank you. All right, so let's see another one. X Consulting. It's an IT consulting company, and we provide web designing and development services. Oh, by the way, I should mention that. Yeah, thank you, Fuya. Thanks a lot for that. Make sure nobody else said anything. Right here, this is actually pretty solid. Let me click a larger version there. We can all see it. X. So simple type. We can see. Initially, when I first saw this before beginning the stream, I thought that this X was the same symbol applied over here, but it's not. It's reversed, this blue part. So that's fine. If it was the same symbol repeated in the logo, which I've seen a lot of people do in the past, you don't want to do that. But I think you can get away with it here because the fact that they are two separate symbols going different ways, and it's also helping to frame the true in the middle, which is kind of a unique play on the word mark itself. The one area I think that you could definitely fix is the consulting is too large. And so if we're talking about visual hierarchy, which is also applicable to logo design as it is with UI design, as most of you know if you watch, I'm always talking about visual hierarchy. This consulting is kind of competing too much for the I, as opposed to the company name, which is what you want people to remember the most. So the consulting, I would scale it down at the very least, or make it this color right here. You could probably leave it the blue or maybe a gray, and I think it would be more effective than what it is now. There just wasn't enough here for me to say that I should redesign this logo. All right, so coming here, let me open original so we can really see this. All right, so as you can see right here, hopefully it's showing up on my screen. This letter, this symbol right here, which is this bird of sorts, we can see has these circular overlays right here, which obviously is not a part of the logo, but it's kind of just showing the construction process of creating this logo. And this is something that's real popular. You'll see a lot of the professional designers doing this, like on sites like Dribbble and Behance. And it's a really effective method. And why would you do this, for instance? Why does everything have to be a part of a perfect circle? Which it doesn't necessarily, but that's because when you're dealing with perfect circles and perfect angles that are applied consistently, it helps the overall aesthetic of what it is you're trying to represent. And it also ensures that it's also going to be in an abstract manner and not necessarily literal, you know, trying to get every detail of a bird shown. And so there are courses here on Skillshare that actually tell you how to work with grids and on all that different stuff. So definitely check that out. The only thing that I would say that you could possibly improve about this, which this is another logo design I'm not going to redesign because it's already pretty effective, which I would say would be on this tail section, it might be just a tad bit too busy right here, especially if you really scaled it down a lot. There's going to be a lot of fuzzy detail right here if it's a really small size. So I would possibly maybe try to either lessen, maybe just make it 2 circles right here for the feathers, or try to simply just make this, get rid of this little jag right here, and it would be a little bit more simple in my opinion. But other than that, this is great. Looks like the kerning might have a slight issue between the O and the Z. It looks like there might be a little bit difference, but other than that, very, very solid. All right, so let's continue on here. All right, the next one. All right, so we have Preem HP here, and this is, what is this? It's a Supreme Bot Chrome extension called Preem HP. Okay, so the very first thing that I thought when I saw this was Hewlett-Packard. Now, Hewlett-Packard, I know obviously the same acronym, HP, and there's nothing you can do about that. That's fine, aside from changing the name, which you shouldn't have to. Is this, when I thought of that, does the HP logo actually look like this? So I went to Google. Let me go here. HP logo. And this is what the Hewlett-Packard logo looks like. Now, obviously, it is quite different. This is lowercase, it's blue. But the one thing that there is similar, and it's very minute, is the fact that you have the H raised here and the P lowered. And we can see the H is raised up here and the P is lowered. Maybe that's where I got that connection from. So when we're competing, well, not competing, but when we're talking about, you know, our logos, and we're making sure that our logos aren't familiar with very recognizable brands, one of the things you want to do is try to stay away from any type of unique play that they have on their logo. And this being raised and this being dropped like that, I think that's what gave me that connection to HP. And you don't want to confuse people, obviously, with your unique mark. It needs to be unique. So that's probably one thing I would change with this logo for sure. Let me click on this so we can see it behind a white background. So yeah, I would definitely change that up at the very least. Let's go on to the next one. And I'm not going to really examine these. I already did one of them. All right, here's one I think I'm going to give a shot at trying to redo in Photoshop. Let me get rid of this. And we're already at 22 minutes. We'll probably be going for like an hour today. All right, so Gary, love to see your feedback on the logo I included. It's the logo for a design company called Graphified. Graphified. There we go. All right, so it is just called Graphified. So the GF, no, that's fine. I'm not going to really nitpick on that. But what I want to do is save this over here. And we're going to come into Illustrator. Let's get rid of all that. Real quickly, I was going to go to image trace, so expand it, get rid of all that, and then make this black. Let's see here, black. There we go. All right. So for me personally, and this may be, it's kind of in the round of subjectivity as opposed to objectivity, like, you know, something that is 100% wrong versus something that's subjective, which could be personal preferences, is when possible, I would say try to combine your symbols. That's what I meant in the previous example with the Volcano voice service. If we can, try to make them one cohesive symbol in some way, shape, or form. And I think there's a way that we could experiment with taking this G and maybe making a single mark that also conveys this F in a relevant manner. Now, if I can remember, or if I can recall what this company was about, where is it at? Where is my, there we go. Okay, so I don't really know what Graphified does. I would assume it's graphics or it's something pertaining to being, you know, design related. So with that said, whenever you're dealing with a letter mark like this, it's nice to try to tackle a couple things. First, to get yourself a unique mark that's, you know, no one else is using, as far as your research indicates. And two, in an abstract manner, try to get those letters visible in that unique mark. And then three, I'm sorry, I meant three things. The third thing is to try to somehow convey in a very abstract manner the purpose or the objective of what this company is about. And that's hard to do sometimes. But this company is about being creative, and we'll just say the mark is creative. So what I would do is take this G, let me just copy this. I'm going to right click and ungroup. And what I'm thinking is about the top portion, these two lines could be joined together. All right, so I'll take this right over here. Wait a second. Let me ungroup this. There, release compound path. There we go. And I'm going to move this up and just scale it down so it's the same width right around the point at which this top part of the G is going straight for a second. Yeah, something like that. I'm going to try to be too perfect about it. Take the direct selection tool. And it may not have to be that long, but I'm just going to delete a few anchor points here. Maybe not that one. I think there's 2 anchor points there. All right, something like that. That right there kind of is a one step possibly in the right direction, but I think we can even condense it more. So let's see. What we could do is maybe take these two and combine them into a single symbol of some sort. So let's see. I think what I'll do is delete this one. And in this case, I think this is out too far. All right, so what I can do, let's get our rectangle tool. All right, now that obviously looks pretty stupid. It doesn't look like an F at all. So let's try to remedy this. Let's think how we can approach this perhaps differently. Come up just a bit so that this bottom F part is more in line with being up here. Let me see. And what we need to do is try to separate these so that we can clearly see a G and an F in a single symbol. All right, so I think what I'll try to do is take this bottom and connect it like a regular G would be. So let me move this over on my other monitor so I can see, make sure everybody is going good. There we go. All right. And I'm just going to connect, maybe I could just do this. All right. So we have this strange sort of symbol here, a G and an F. And we need to separate it more so somehow, because you can't really tell that there's an F. You can see a G pretty clearly, but the F, I think it needs to be separated some shape or way, some shape or form. So what I'll do is let me grab white right here for our foreground, and I'm going to come in here and think about how we can separate. So maybe we could, maybe if I put kind of like a rectangle or a triangle right here. Let me see. Yeah, that's fine. It's not going to be perfect right now in terms of the lines and how they're intersecting. Let me take both of these and scale them down just a bit. And yeah, I kind of think I like that. I mean, you could play around with possibly moving this in. And this right here, you could experiment with the angle of how this is applied. For instance, you could rearrange and reflect it. This I don't think would make too much sense, although it could be taken this way. I think the other way it makes a little bit more sense right here, because you could see an F pretty clearly right here, but you can also see the G coming up, and then this little triangle helps reinforce the G part coming in. So if you can, I would definitely try to condense your elements as much as possible. All right, I kind of like that. Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? All right, let's continue on. There were some other ones that I definitely want to try to redesign. Let's see here. All right, so this one, my web agency's logo without a drop shadow, company name is Syncor. So it would have been nice to know like what the company is about to understand, you know, if this little, I see a V here. I think other people would see a V as well. I was assuming it was maybe a letter mark and the company started with V. But if I don't know what the company's about, you know, for what it is though, I really like it. It's a nice solid symbol. And so in pure design fundamentals, you definitely nailed it down right here. I really like it. But if I had more information, I would have kind of maybe had better feedback. This one is a logo design for a new startup called Ally or Ally. No, it'd be Ally, right? No, I don't even know. I'm going to take this real quickly. There's one thing that's bothering me about this that I think would improve it. It's just a real quick fix. All right. Let's see. Let's drag this over here. Let's go back to Illustrator. I almost said Photoshop. Don't design logos in Photoshop now. All right. Let's get rid of that. Oh darn! I think I took the version that was let me open the original. There we go. That's a larger version. Yes, copy and replace. All right, and then we'll go back here. All right. So let me just hit image trace. 16 colors. Pixel clustering. Boy, that destroyed it. Okay, that's a little bit better. What I want to do is just expand this so I can get rid of all the other stuff. I know it screwed up the Y, but I don't really care about that. I'm going to replace that. So one thing, you have this cool sort of negative space A occurring right here, which I like. But I think this little space right here that you have in this section, which if we bring back the original, we can see it better. I think this part is unnecessary, simply because you already have something that's really unique occurring over here, and you want everybody's attention drawn to that. So when you break up this Y, you're sort of subverting the eye's attention to that area unnecessarily, because I don't think it serves a point unless I'm missing something conceptually about it. So what I would do, I'm going to get out my trusty Montserrat font. Okay. I'm always using that, Montserrat. But it would work well, I think, for this. Yeah, look at that. It looks like it's the same font. All right, so let me right-click and ungroup this. Just delete the Y real quick. And that's already better, in my opinion, like 1,000 times better. That way, all the focus is on where it needs to be, which is this A that's seen in the negative space here. So that was just my very small critique about that. I think if you did that, it'd be it would really just solidify what is already a pretty cool concept. One thing though, that when I first saw this negative space A right here, if I come over here, and this doesn't mean you need to change it. Trust me, it does not at all. RGB. Let me come in here and make it green. Get out of here. All right, there we go. I'm a fan of the tennis channel. I love tennis, and so I have the tennis channel, and they did the same thing, except it was with a T, and the T symbolizes a tennis court where it has like the white stripes, like the baseline and all that stuff. This doesn't mean you have to change it at all, but you could possibly see a T in there, and it's kind of like the same concept, but that does not mean you have to change it. I don't think it was intentional or anything, but nonetheless, just something I observed. It's pretty much impossible, you know, when you're coming up with a logo design. Eventually, because so many millions of logos have been created, there are going to be ones that are similar. But just that's why it's important to at least make sure that your logo doesn't compete with a really important brand that everybody knows. Tennis channel, I don't think that really falls in line with that category. All right, let's continue on. Let's see. Okay. The atomic circle. Now, he didn't provide me, I don't think he provided me with any more information about this logo, but I still want to rework it just a bit because I think there's some lessons to be learned. Right now, what is it, 36 minutes? This would be a good time to give another plug to this live stream sponsor. Right now, I'm talking about logos and redesigning them. And of course, I've been focusing on the past year on this channel on UI design big time. I really haven't touched logo design. Logo design is a different beast when we're comparing it to UI design and designing app interfaces and such. And if you're trying to design your own logos or logos for clients and you're just finding that they look like crap because you don't know why, trust me on this. Take me up on that offer or Skillshare where you get 2 months free. And check out these logo design courses right here, and there's tons of them from well-respected people. So free 2 months, definitely check that out. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to redesign this logo right here because I can see what's happening. There's an A that's abstract right here, and then there's a circle. And I think possibly, you know, the negative space lines coming from the A is to represent, you know, it being atomic, obviously, as well as the form of the shape itself. The atomic symbol, I think, has something similar going. It's a cool concept, but I think just looking at the lines and the shape of the circle and such, it can be improved a lot. So let's do that. All right, 170 people still watching. That's a good thing. Everybody said, screw this guy, doesn't know what he's talking about. We're leaving. All right. The link in the description is invalid. Really? Hold on one second, guys. All right. Okay, let's I want to make sure there's no issues occurring here. Let's say here. Invite people. This will expire never. Generate new link. I think that's the link I have in there. So this would be the link right here. There we go. All right. Okay, so now, yeah, I think the issue was with that dude. Hair laugh. All right, let's go here. Okay, so the first thing that threw me off is it looked like this logo or the image was distorted, like it was stretched up. Because when you see something that's almost a circle but not quite, it's not ideal. I mean, you can do ovals in your logo design, of course, if they're clearly ovals, but it seemed like this should have been like that, right? It almost makes me wonder if that's what happened. But still, even outside of that, I think we can make some other adjustments to this because it's not bad. But I want to try doing a couple different things. So I'm going to reconstruct it from scratch. All right, so we're going to take the ellipse tool here. We're going to get rid of the fill. We're going to give it a black stroke. And it's good. I like the fact that there's a stick as well, so I'm going to do that. Somewhere right around there. Sorry, I need to get water. All right, and then to simulate this, and the way with these like the lines coming through here, I'm going to take the rectangle tool. I'm going to get in the center here, and I'm just going to hold Alt and drag out something. I don't know, maybe right around. I don't know, right around there will be fine. This one doesn't need. Let's give it a white section right there. I'm going to rotate it while holding Shift. So we get at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to replicate it and do the same thing while holding Shift. All right, this is kind of funny. It almost looks like a lifeboat right here. But anyhow, that's how you can make a lifeboat if you're ever interested. So I'm going to take both of these and we're going to merge them. Where's my Pathfinder at? There it is. So now these are merged. And then I will take this and we're going to go to Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. And then I'm going to minus front. Now it's just one simple shape and this is all white space. All right. So right now, just looking at this versus this looks so much better because it's a perfect circle. Maybe the person who submitted this, if you're currently watching, you can let me know if this was somehow unintentionally skewed or something like that, atomic circle. So let me know if that was the case. If not, that's fine if it was, but I still think we can make other improvements with this, which is what I'm going to try to do here. So now we need to get this A right here. All right, so what I'll do is just take the pen tool. We'll get to the center line. And I'll just connect this up and then use the Pathfinder to merge those shapes. All right. And then what I'll do, obviously there's this kind of extending up here. So, which I agree with because it's a little bit too small of a depiction of an A. So, you know, do we just go here in the middle? You could do that. Or could you possibly go up higher? Let me see. Or could you do something where let's say for instance, well that's kind of cattywampus. Let me get that out of here. All right. Or you could do something like, for instance, see how these lines are all angled? They're all going to come to a certain point. Let's see. Let's take this. And this, of course, would follow exactly the same because everything is in line with each other. I'm going to put this right here just for now. I'm not necessarily going to keep this, but I'm just doing it for a guide to know where we're going to put this up at top. All right, so that way we can make the A really a center focal point, and we're also going to make it so that the A doesn't extend below the emblem or the circle. All right, so for now, let me go to my layers. I can find them. It's on the other screen, of course, and let me just hide that. All right, or not lock it, hide it. There we go. All right. So now let's get up this part. I think that's pretty cool looking as well. So we'll take this. And what would probably be a good idea as well is to get this sphere right here, the one that's obviously negative space, the white part, and probably intersect it right where it would match. Let's do that real quick. We'll take the sphere here, the ellipse tool rather. Find the center, which looks like it's right there. Yep. It's not going to be perfect, but this is just for demonstration purposes anyhow. All right, and let's take the opacity down. All right, and hopefully it'll give me a guide that will let me know, exactly where that is at. No, it won't. 1 second. It's going to change the color so we can see it with an opacity right around there. There we go. So we're going to start here, right in the center, and it's locking it there. So I know it's in the center of the logo, or the circle rather. And then just come out here and a minus front. All right, so you can see sort of the eye can see. I mean, maybe you're not aware of it, that this thing is coming up to that point right there. Now, it makes the A little bit less noticeable because this angle isn't as extreme. So you could possibly, come out here in the middle, which I particularly, I don't sure if I like that. We'll leave it right there though. So now what I'll do is take this, and I'm not done just yet. We can see already that this shape right here is a lot better, but the A is supposed to be atomic, right? So the A itself, in a conceptual, abstract manner, that's where the blast is coming from. Maybe like the tip of the A, everything's pointing up here to this tip, right? Well, then it would make sense to make this white space right here, which could be seen as blasts coming from the A, to be angled towards coming from the A in that manner. So let's try to do that real quick. What I could do is make sure that this top line is pointing there. And so this is the new angle that we want. And then what I'll do is kind of just, combine those. And this is kind of cool in and of itself. I mean, this isn't my intention to keep that line like that, but if I reflect it and we make it point from there, that's sort of cool, isn't it? You could possibly think about keeping that. But anyhow, but my original intention is to take that sphere, which I wish I kept it. All right, right there. I'm gonna replicate it 1 second. Take this, and then we can minus front. Where did my Pathfinder go? I'm always losing that thing. There we go. Like that. There we go. So now if I delete this, replicate that, reflect it, bring it over here. And of course, you want to make sure these are all tidied up. That's so much better than what we had. Just that tiny difference, and how everything is symmetrical and lines up perfectly is just awesome in my opinion. So going from this, certainly I think it's objective to say that this is a huge improvement based on what I've done here. So I think the big takeaway that everybody can take from this, and whoever designed this as well, is to try to keep things as symmetrical as possible, and give every anchor point that you placed, every angle, a purpose in some cohesive form. All right, so where are we at? 48 minutes already. Wow, just about done here. So let me go ahead and go back here. I think we might wrap it up. Maybe I'll just look at the rest of these and maybe just mention some things. Let me check my chat, by the way. Ha! Now, I should preface by saying everything I just did was pretty much off the cuff, and so not everything's going to be perfect. So hopefully people understand that they're not going to be polished after 10 minutes live with a bunch of people watching me as well. Let me check a few more of these. Let's see here. Oh, I'm not even looking. There we go. Looking in the wrong channel. All right, so this next one thing, if you're going to use something like this and you have a little a white space to try to separate it from a containing element like this, I would make it thicker. Push it out down a little bit more around here, simply because when you scale that down to smaller size, it's going to look a little bit blurry or pixelated. So definitely looking at that. Also, it looks like how you're, yeah, it's actually not too bad. It looks pretty solid to me in terms of the shape of the dog here, or the wolf rather. Sorry. All right, this one. Looking at this, there are definitely some issues. If I let me copy this real quick. I'm not going to redesign it, but I want to be able to enlarge it so we can see it better. Actually, if I open original, there we go. We could see, for instance, the right half of this angle right here is not uniform. You can see it looks like it's a little bit, for instance, it's not like an oval that you would see, and it seems like the lines don't flow sort of smoothly. So definitely I would remedy that because it just looks off to me. Next, again, about white space or negative space and then being close up. When it's large like this, it looks fine, but when you scale it down, it's just not going to look great. So you can see how just like blurry, you can barely see a difference. It's too fine of a detail. So when you have stuff like that, you know, same thing right here. If these were real close together and not as fat as they are, they would look like crap. But this is going to look solid pretty much at any size, and you can see all of the lines clearly. So that's another issue that I would remedy. What else? Next up is if I'm seeing this correctly, this point down here ends here, and this one ends up just a little bit higher. So I'm not a fan of that. Try to make everything, you know, as consistent as possible in terms of where things are placed. And then finally, the this down here, the type portion of your logo definitely needs to be improved, specifically in relation to the tagline, infinite creativity. It's so small, especially when you scale this thing down. No one's going to be able to see that. So I would definitely remedy that as well. So you need to make them bigger. The kerning is way too dramatic in a sense. So definitely improve the type as well. Take a look at a few more and we will conclude shortly. Now this one I saw before there were any comments before. It was the last comment. I think I looked at this morning or last night. And the immediate impression that I got was that looks like a swastika from Nazi Germany. And that's just because they are quite similar. I'm sure you weren't going for that, obviously, but I mean, unless you're like a nationalist or something or a Nazi. But I would probably, it sucks that you would have to scrap, it would be advisable to scrap that simply because some nutball used a very similar symbol. So again, you could probably stick with the same sort of concept, but change a couple things up so that it doesn't seem so obvious, because these two people, that looks very similar to another symbol, and then somebody else thought the same, so it's not just me when I saw this. So I would change for what it is, though, ignoring the fact that, you know, it was used previously. It's pretty solid. I'm not sure if you so much can see the S here. It looks like maybe a backwards P, but yeah, that's just me being subjective. For what it is, though, it is solid. All right. This is Petty Poise. I don't know. Develop and design small websites and games, and I need some ideas on a logo redesign. I don't have enough time to actually redesign anything. It has been 54 minutes. But looking at this for what it is, I mean, let me real quickly just drag this into Illustrator. I kind of wanted to see the actual symbol more so than the type. First of all, what is the relevance behind this little symbol? It's a smiley face. kind of sitting in something like a leaf of some sort. So I'm not sure what the relevancy is. So when we have logo designs and symbols in our logo designs, you really need to try to make sure as much as possible that at least in some sort of abstract way there is relevance. And again, it doesn't have to be literal relevance. If you're doing web design and you put like a paintbrush, you probably don't want to do that. That's too overused, way too overused. But there should be some relevance. So maybe if you could explain it, if you're currently watching, I will see it then. But right now, I personally don't see it. In what, how this has relevance. This will be my professional logo. What do you think? I see what you're going for. This reminds me of one of the Olympic logos. I forget which year that was, but they had a similar aesthetic for this. It was sort of very colorful and a lot of overlapping shapes. Me personally, I'm not really too much a fan of that, and again, that's maybe a little bit more subjective, of a subjective preference. But for what this is, I would probably try to maybe make this back portion maybe a little bit more of an afterthought, so that the DL can be seen just a bit more. All right, S Starterland, Starters Land. Okay, open that. Well, definitely get rid of that type, which I assume you probably are if you're working on a logo that you showed me here. For what this is, might want to go back. The land part and this part right here I kind of like, but although I would, you have unnecessary white space right here and here. If you made it even with the amount of white space from the top and bottom for the right and left, it would frame it more and it would make more sense. And then the S kind of coming outside of everything. Again, you have another amount of white space on the right and left. So try to get everything uniform with this amount of white space between elements. With it extending beyond, I'm not sure if I like that. I might want to just make it the same size of this and make it, keep it the same the fact that it is it's a white space element here with nothing in it. I think it would probably make things a little bit more cohesive. And I'm not going to be able to go through all of these, maybe just a couple more, because we're at 57 minutes. Let me check the chat here. Let's see here. This, I kind of like this. It's very elegant, obviously with the sans serif lettermark here. So yeah, I don't really have anything too much negative to say. I kind of like this. The EC here. Yeah. This is my actual logo. I know it's kind of geometric, but maybe you could create something better or share your opinion. Let's see if I could actually create a new version of it. So I'm not sure exactly what the letter, this is KAV, and then I'm not sure what the X, KAV, that doesn't make sense. I'm not sure what this one particular is, but I kind of like it though. Yeah, definitely. For what it is, the fact that you did work in geometric shapes and things seem to be very consistent, especially added to this cool geometric background, it works definitely. Health and nutrition. I can see this is obviously a transparent PNG of some sort. This should be transparent as well. The fork. I'm not sure if that was the intention or not. The fact that this is one symbol is a good thing though, because some people, a much newer designer might do something like take a fork and put it on the side or sitting next to it or underneath the apple. But the fact that it's a part of the apple is a step in the right direction for sure. So that, yeah, I like the type as well. For what I can pretty much see, it's kind of hard to see it though. Given this background of the chat. What do you think about this logo? It's a company that provides SEO tools. How does it look on the website? Let's check it out. Oh, Oh, there it is. All the way on my third monitor over here. All right. All right, it's yeah, it's not too bad. It's very simple for what it is. Let me see here. Provides SEO tools. Okay, so I understand the relevance now because I wasn't sure. I understand this is kind of like a cursor, like when you're about to type inside of the blinking cursor thing. That makes sense because SEO, obviously, search engines, people are typing in text fields to search. So I actually kind of like it. The one thing I would possibly experiment with, which no, I wouldn't. Yeah, I was going to say making this line the same thickness as these, but that wouldn't make sense. It would look like an L then. So no, I like this. It's pretty solid. Let me look at how much time I've been going through these. One hour exactly. All right, well, unfortunately, time is up. So, wow, we got quite a few more. But what I'm going to be doing next week, or for the Fridays live stream of next week, I'm going to be doing another design review. So if you guys want me to review these logos or whatever, submit them then, because then I'll have more time. But you have to submit them then. I'm not just going to remember to come back to these. So just go ahead back to our the review submissions channel. And again, it's going to be around 11 or 11:30, depending on that given day of next Friday that I'll be doing a live stream of a design critique. All right, so once again, this stream, before I conclude, I'm going to check these out for what it is. Gary Simon 2018. All right, so yeah, this, like I said, one last time to conclude, yeah, definitely check out Skillshare.com as it's the sponsor, and I would never take a sponsored video or a sponsorship from a company that I don't believe in. I always preface that. And so Skillshare, of course, there's other competitors. In terms of design, they are right up there as being number one in terms of the online learning networks. They have so many design-related classes for UI, UX, and graphic design, and that's where you're going to find the logo design courses. And of course, you just type logo design, and if you join up with the free 2-month offer that's linked here in the description on YouTube, you can take any of these courses, any amount of them that you want, and these are all logo design based courses, and some are very much recommended, and usually there's the ones that you can sort by let me see here, can you sort by filter results, premium, created within this month, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, and also most of these courses have a challenge, like you can submit your own project based on a challenge that they like. Look at this, all projects. So people created these based on what they learned watching this course. So definitely check it out. And yeah, that is going to be it. Thanks for I think there was one person who submitted a super chat. So yes, Merry Christmas back to you, Fu Ya. All right, I'll see you guys next week with a stream, and of course, we're going to have videos before then. I'm not stopping just because it's the holidays, so expect a video either Monday or Tuesday based on some type of design or code tutorial. See you later.